It is written, the meek shall inherit the earth, but not on my watch. I am King Asilas. I wasn't born to be a king, but America needed something democracy could no longer give her. And so, like a chess master, I made my moves with anticipation and bravado. This is not just my story, nor simply about my rise to power. This is a story about our world and the monsters that control governments. What happens when the monsters cannot control me? The Rise of King Asilas. Listen on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Visit theriseofkingasilas.com.
Beginning Odd Dad Out podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Odd Dad Out podcast, where normal is not my specialty. I am your host, as always, the chicken with his head cut off, Adam Higgins, the Odd Dad Out. You can find me at oddadoutpodcast.com and on all the social media places at oddadout. And normally, this is the show where I ramble and rant and empty all the crap out of my head for your listening pleasure. I make fun of some weird news shit, and I tell you about a podcast that I think you should listen to because, like I always say, even though it's trademarked, sharing is caring. And this is another one of those. Sorry to say, normally I do all of those things. And if this is your first time listening, thank you for joining me, because you know what? In the last couple of weeks, I have seen a massive increase of people listening. So thank you to everybody who's new to the show. You are all awesome. But this is another one of those weeks where I'm just so damn busy. I have not had the time to put all of the stuff together for a full show. And so all I've got today is just all of the crap going on in my head right now. Because it's just been a busy fucking week. That's all I gotta say. I mean, if you've noticed, the show's late this week. Why? It's been busy. Because it's parent-teacher conference week, if the title didn't tell you that. But on top of all of that, I also had to take all the kids to the doctor because I'm the one at home during the day and I gotta do that shit. So if you were listening back a few weeks ago, basically like the beginning of August, well, I have two boys that both have birthdays in August. And if you're a parent, you're aware that generally speaking, when it's their birthday, then they need to go into the doctor for their annual checkup. Well, again, if you were listening back then, you heard that we also took all the boys to the dentist before school started and all this stuff. And Charlie was having to get a bunch of other stuff done. Well, as we were going through getting all of that stuff done, we completely forgot to schedule the boys for their birthday checkups, basically. And we're like, shit, we looked up and it's like, oh shit, it's been like a month. We're like a month late getting their checkups for their annual checkup thing, whatever the fuck words. And we are like, shit. Okay, so we get it scheduled, and I schedule it, and it's another one of those things where my wife does not like scheduling doctor's appointments when they're in school, and I'm like, they're going to be in school. That's just kind of the thing. It's like, if I have to wait for the next day they're off of school or they get out early, we're going to be waiting another month. We don't have time for this. We need to just get it over with. It's like, I'll take them out of class. That's it. And then because the doctor's appointment was at 2 p.m, and I only had to take Charlie out of school for that because, well, he's the only one, and it's like him and the oldest and the youngest isn't in school yet. Well, because of the time of the appointment. The appointment's at 2. School ends at 2:40. We were not going to be out of the doctor. With 2 kids getting appointments, we were not going to be out of the doctor's office before they got out of school. I was not going to make it to the school on time to be able to pick them up. So I was like, all right, I got to take them all out. And well, drive time. And you know how when you get to the doctor, you got to make sure you're there early and shit. So I got them out of class at 1:30. And again, the school ends at 2:40. So we got cut off the last hour of school. No biggie. But my wife was like pissed. She was so mad that all of the boys had to get taken out of class. Like, they're going to miss school. I was like, they're missing an hour. They missed one class. They missed the end of the day. That's it. Because it's like, yeah, Charlie had to go to the doctor. Oh, well, no biggie. And it sucks for him because he's actually missed a lot because of all of the dental stuff he had to do, because he's had 2 mornings where I basically had to just take him in late where the other boys went to school and he stayed back. And then I took him to the dentist before school. And then he went to school. So he's had a few of these days where he's missed the beginning or end of class. But it's only the first month of school. So, had to go through that whole nightmare of, and I don't like taking all 4 boys to the doctor with me because, well, you try having 4 rowdy boys at the end of the school day hanging out in a doctor's office in a tiny little room. They're bouncing off the walls. And again, my boys are super, super chatty. And so when the doctor comes in, and he's usually got a student doctor with him now. And so they're just talking their heads off. And every time he's trying to talk to the 2 boys getting their checkups, and they're trying to ask them their, the standard, how are you eating? Is there you're having any troubles? I was like, having trouble pooping and all that stuff. And the other 2 are yammering away. I was like, shut up. He's not talking to you guys. Like, let them answer. And I'm trying to go through my home, like answering questions and doing all the things, and they won't shut up, and they're jumping up and down and bouncing around and climbing all over shit. And I'm just like, I'm going to Velcro your asses to these chairs. Yeah. I was like, made me want to just like, here, grab a bandana. It's like, shut up, and just wrap their mouths shut. Like, you'd see in old cartoons and shit, and just tie you to the train tracks. Yeah. Now, another thing, you ever see someone get tied to train tracks like that? It doesn't make any sense. There's nowhere to loop rope to tie someone to train tracks. You can tie them up and just dump them on train tracks. That kind of works. But no, you can't tie somebody to train tracks. Just saying, sidebar over. But I'm tired. Can you tell? Not that I'm not always tired, but take all of that in. And then Wednesday, which would have been recording day, release day, all of the things. Wednesday is podcast day. My wife was home sick with she gets basically completely debilitating migraines. She gets I can't turn on any lights. I can't get out of bed. The only light in the room, I basically turned on the bathroom light and then had the door cracked a little bit so it illuminated the room enough so she could see, because our windows are completely blacked out. So there's no light coming in through the window. And if I cracked the window, then it would make it hot. So I can't do that. So anyway, yeah, the only light in the room was just a little bit from the bathroom door. So yeah, there was just no way I could record yesterday. But now, theoretically, I could have taken my laptop and some stuff and kind of gone out and recorded in another room, gone out to the garage where it's 200 degrees and recorded in there. Fine, yeah, melt my face off for you. I would have done it for you, but Sam decided he didn't want to take a nap yesterday, so I had no opportunity to sit down and record anything. I did get show notes typed up, not that it was anything, because this is a kind of short show. I don't have any news to cover. I didn't have to put any of that shit in there. I didn't have to look up anything. No. because I knew going into this week that this was going to be the show. But yeah, I was like, so that sucked. Like, I mentally prepare for recording day and have it all planned out. And to the point where, hey, we're pulling back the podcast curtain. Da, 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 da. I actually finally went out and shelled out for a pop filter. If you don't know, it's that if you ever see people in recording booths and stuff, it's that big, like, round screen thing that you kind of talk or sing through. And it makes it so that when you are talking, it kind of deflects the air and makes it so your big, loud, poppy noises, your B's and your P's and your pizza pa isn't so drummy. And if you don't notice the difference right now, when I did that whole pa right before, had I not had the filter on, you would have actually been able to feel the pop of that in your ears. And that's like when I was testing this thing, that's how I was like, oh, I hear it, but I don't feel it. And you kind of feel the extra pop in your ears when it's not appropriately deflected. Anyway, and I think it actually is also kind of lowering my volume a bit. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I went and I got a pop filter using some Amazon points, so it didn't cost me anything. Woo! But I was like, yeah, I'm going to basically be going through all of the shit this week. And then I wake up in the morning and she's not getting ready for work. And I was like, oh shit, it's one of those days. She's not going anywhere. No way I can get recording done. No way I can get editing work done sitting 10 feet away, me being an obnoxious twerp. What the fuck's a twerp? Me being this while, she's trying to sit there dealing with a migraine. So yeah, but yeah, that's just, that happens. And if you've been listening to the show long enough, sometimes shows come out on Thursday or Friday because at the end of the day, life comes first and podcasting comes second. And I always say I might try to record something for Patreon bonus stuff for those of you who are awesome and financially support the show and get the extra something, but no guarantees because I still have some recording to do for audio drama stuff or audio sitcom. Still an audio drama if it's a sitcom. I don't know how you would classify that, but for a show that I occasionally work on. And so I've actually got a pretty big part coming up. So I've got to record lines for that. And I was kind of dialing in my character and doing all that kind of stuff and getting ready for that. And, oh yeah, like I said, it's parent-teacher conference week. Woo! Which is actually today. And I actually have conferences for the next 2 days. Because today is a regular day and they get out at normal time. And then after school, I've got one conference. And tomorrow they get out early and they have a whole day of conferences. And I've got one at noon and another at 2, which seriously is going to be no sleep tomorrow at all. I'm hoping that if anything, that my workload for the next few nights hopefully shouldn't be awful. I'm hoping that for the next couple of nights for work, that I have an easygoing time, that it's not overly miserable, that I'm not losing too much sleep, because holy crap, I really hate when I have to do all of these things and then I'm getting home at 4:30 in the morning. Those days suck. Especially I said, tomorrow the boys get out of school early. Well, they get out of school early in the middle of what would normally be nap time, when I'd be sleeping, or Sam would definitely be sleeping, but we'd be out. This is the time where we're asleep. We're catching up on sleep. We're getting all of that stuff done because, well, we need to sleep. He's 4. He needs a nap. I'm old. I need a nap. No, I got home at 4. I need a nap. So that's the stuff that eats into my night. That I'm I have to function in the day. I have to. I got to be dad. Well, I also have to function at night because if I don't go to work, we won't have any money for us to, keep a roof over our heads and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm Superman. I'm everybody always It sounds cheesy and stupid, and it kind of he kind of sounds egotistical and braggy. But I'm frequently referred to as Superman for the fact that I basically operate on 4 ish hours of sleep a day, and the whole I am home dad all day. I work all night, and I do this shit for some particular reason, whatever the hell. For whatever reason, I come on and I talk to you, and I do this to just empty my brain out and just because it's fun. That's it. Because it's fun and I love doing it. And I love sharing stories and being stupid. But yeah, I do all this. And so, yeah, that's just, it's funny to me, I guess, because I think it's any parent who kind of has to, where you're running on fumes, and you're running on fumes for so much of the time, where, people are always saying, oh, self-care is important. It's like, yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes you can't self-care, and it sucks. And it sounds kind of, scapegoaty or making excuses. But you know what? Frequently when you're a parent, you don't have time for self-care. You don't have time for a lot of things, because at the end of the day, you have small little copies of yourself that have to survive. That is your responsibility to make sure they continue breathing. And that has to take priority. Literally, your only responsibility to yourself before that is make sure you are still breathing, so that you can make sure that they are still breathing and eating and sleeping and doing all the things they need to do, so that they can grow up to an age where they can eventually take care of you instead. Yeah, that's the cycle of life. You raise them so that they can take care of you when you're old. That's how it works. And and they sure as shit better be taking us, because damn it, they're a pain in the ass now. I'm going to be so much bugging the shit out of them and annoying the shit out of them when I'm old, damn it. But one day they're going to listen to this like, oh, you said it then. You planned to be this much of a pain in my ass, didn't you, Dad? But but yeah, that's just kind of the thing. It's like when you what's it they say, was it your fuse is lit on both ends. Yeah. You're burning the candle from both ends. That one works too, because that one's less explodey. But yeah, because when you're a parent, you kind of have to. It's like you can't stop being a parent. You just got to be. You're a parent all the time, and then, well, in order to function as a parent, you also have to work. You have to go to work and make money so that you have the finances so that you can actually provide for those little things that you got to parent. And so, yeah, you end up kind of fried, and it's like parents are just fried. If you're really trying and you're really, you're working hard and you're doing your thing to be a parent, even a decent parent, not even a good parent, even to be just a half decent parent, you're probably pretty frazzled. And then, I think this is probably my self-care. If I had to say anything, podcasting is my self-care. Podcasting and podcast editing, because I enjoy working on audio. I enjoy sitting there, and I enjoy like when somebody has a really weird hiccup or something in their speech, or there's like an audio glitch or something that happens. It's like, oh, it's a Skype call. And if you've ever been on a Skype call, and I talked about this during the episode with Chris and Cody from BSP, Believer Skeptic podcast, where I don't like Skype because Skype has a lot of audio glitches. And so you'll be talking and it'll glitch in the middle of a word. And so it'll get both sides of it, but you'll have this big like electronic buzz in the middle of it. And you've got to like trim that out and piece the little bits of the word together and do it from an editing, fun puzzle piecing things together standpoint. That's a fun thing to do, is to fix those things. From a fucking Skype, I hate that it does this stupid shit. Why can't it just record normally? It sucks. It's fun to accomplish the fix. It's fun to, be able to pat yourself on the back and say, yeah, I fixed that. And you can't even tell that there was this audio hiccup there. But from the going through it, you don't want to have to fix shit. That's the thing. It's really, you feel accomplished when you've fixed something and you can't tell that you've had to fix something. But it fucking sucks because you don't want to have to fix something. You want everything to just be happy and hunky-dory, and you go in and you clean it up and you get rid of background noise and maybe level some stuff off and call it a day instead of spending 3 hours cutting ums and audio glitches and crosstalk and what was that, a dog? And and there's a train in the background, any of that, and doing all that shit and cutting all that shit out. You don't want to cut all the bullshit out. But you do, because that's the job. But, it'd be a lot better if you didn't have to. Just saying. And I think every audio editor out there right now will agree with me. You have no problem doing all the bullshit. But you know what? It'd be kind of nice if you didn't have to. So before I wrap things up, or I guess, because I don't know if you want to call this housekeeping or what, but little programming advance, I guess. So if you've been a listener to the show for a while, you are aware, and I guess it would have to be a pretty long while, you're aware that November is National Podcast Post Month. This is where you basically post up a new episode of your podcast every day for all 30 days of November. And you're like, well, why are you talking about this now? It's just barely the beginning of September. Well, I'm saying this now because I have a plan. And I've participated in National Podcast Post Month for the last 2 years. And in both of those cases, it's basically been like this. It's been me kind of just doing usually shorter episodes, probably in the 10 to 15 minute range, except where I started bringing on guests at the end of last year. And it's strenuous. It's very much I need a topic of the day, improvising, throw out a quick show. Ta-da, I did it. And I absolutely learned a ton. I think my editing skills and my audio production skills went through the roof in the super condensed experience that is doing 30 episodes in 30 days and having to have such a quick turnaround. I got very good and very fast at doing certain things and learned a lot of new audio tricks, which is great. It was a great thing to, be able to learn as both a podcaster, producer, and an editor. But it's also, it's just more of the same. And I thought about it because in this year, I have started having guests on the show, like regularly having guests on the show at least once a month. And I thought, you know what? This year, for National Podcast Post Month, I want to do something different. I want to have 30 guests in 30 days. And again, these are going to be more condensed episodes. And if you've listened to last week or any of my previous guest episodes, they are very much just like the rambly, empty your brain out portion of the show, where it's just a conversation. We're just talking about whatever. And if I ask a question, it is directly just from something that the conversation led into. Because I don't prepare questions because I'm terrible at that. Well, my plan as it stands right now is 30 guests in 30 days. And I plan on bringing back some previous guests, anybody I can. And obviously, I'm going to need a lot more. I'm going to need a lot more. And in this case, these are going to be a little bit more structured. I am going to have questions. Matter of fact, I already have the questions. And what I've described when I've talked to some of my podcaster friends about this is basically going to be kind of a huge promoting other shows and stuff kind of audio survey conversation kind of thing. It is going to be talking podcasting the whole time because I can talk podcasting all the day long. It is going to turn into a massive collection of podcast recommendations from people all over the space because I need a lot of people. And so, if you are listening to this right now and you want to participate in this, if you want to participate in this and be a part of my National Podcast Post Month 30 Guests in 30 Days nightmare that is going to be for me to do this, and hopefully I don't kill myself, because it was a bitch doing it solo. I can only imagine how rough this is going to be with guests. But if you want to be part of this, reach out to me on all of the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at OddDadOut. Email me, show@oddadoutpodcast.com. You can just put like November guest or something in the subject line and I'll know what it's about. And we can get these things scheduled out, because I think it'd be, I just want to know who wants to come on the show and talk about other podcasts. Because what the fuck not? Because if you're listening to me, you definitely listen to other shows that you probably like more. There's that self-deprecating humor. But there's also a little contact page on the website, oddadoutpodcast.com, right there. Again, just say, hey, I want to be on for National Podcast Post Month. I want to be a guest in November. And again, I am totally willing to start recording these and doing these guest spots as early as this upcoming week. Because again, I need to do 30 of these bitches by November. I've got 2 months. But in that time, I've also got all these other shows to do and my regular monthly guests. And I've got editing clients to take care of. Oh yeah, and I'm a dad. Man, my candle is burning at like a star. I think I've got a whole menorah of double-ended candles here right now. But I need some time. So if you want to be part of this, hit me up. I've already told you all of the places. I'm not going to repeat it again. I've already gone through the spiel. But I will say, if you want to listen to any of the past episodes and get a feel for what conversations are like with me, again, when we do this, it's not just going to be me running down a list. We're going to chat. We're going to have a conversation, but I have a list of questions. And if you do sign up, I will actually provide you the questions. I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm going to send you the questions in advance. And I know there are a couple of people, Derek from Rolling Misadventures and Life World, has actually been going out recruiting for me completely unprovoked. He's gone out and started recruiting people. And I actually provided him the questions too. But it's going to be, I want to have fun with this. This is going to be like my giant podcaster survey, but it's going to be fun for me meeting and talking to tons of new people. And we'll see how this goes, because this is just the massive undertaking for me. So this is what I'm doing. This is my goal. This is my plan for National Podcast November. This is my goal for November 2019. 30 guests in 30 days. Woo! It's going to be fun. Anyway, spiel time. If you want to catch any of the past episodes, listen to any of the previous guests, go back and listen to all of my ramblings from National Podcast Post Month last year or the year before, where I was half dead and ended up with broken ribs and so much bronchitis and crap. It was a mess. Go to oddadoutpodcast.com. Subscribe on your favorite pod service of choice, whether it's Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. I'm on Spotify. There's so many places. I don't even remember all the places, but there are links. Again, on the website, go to the subscribe tab. There's links there. If you want to be an awesome person and financially support the show, there's a Patreon link right there. You could be awesome, and it helps back up the show, like Heather from Sunshine and Power Cuts, Kate from Ignorance Was Bliss, Chris from Play Comics, and Lisa and Sam from I Shake My Head. And you will be hearing more from all of them coming soon, because I'm going to pester them into doing something that you could be a part of if you were to support the show on Patreon. And I may be setting up one of those buy me a coffee things, because come on me, coffee, it's kind of my shtick. So maybe. Anyway, enough rambling. Oh yeah, because I always forget. I always forget the group. I'm sorry, people in the group that I always forget to mention you till the end. Join the Facebook group, Oddballs, Friends of the Odd Dad Out Podcast. I always cut off because it's a big long name. Join the Oddballs group on Facebook. It's fun. That is where you're probably going to see me the most. That's where I spend most of my Facebook time, really. That's just it. I try and drop memes and stupid stuff in there. I'm probably any news and stuff that I didn't use, I'm going to start throwing in there. And that's where I communicate the most. That's where I do the most stuff. You know, I'm not super active on social media stuff, but that's where I'm at the most. So go there, sign up, Facebook, Oddballs. You know how to find groups. Come on, if you're on Facebook. Anyway, I'm rambling again. But next week, I will have a full show put together. I don't know of anything that's going to be really holding me up from that. So until next week, my Oddballs, thank you and good night.